Hiring someone to help you is the easy part. You post a job, you read a few replies, you pick a person, and suddenly you have help. That is not the hard bit at all. The hard bit, the part nobody really teaches you, is knowing what to actually hand over. And I will be honest with you right up front, I got this badly wrong at first. In my first month with an assistant, I managed to make both of the classic mistakes at once. Some days I dumped everything on them, a huge messy pile of half-explained tasks, and then quietly wondered why the results came back rough. Other days I clung to little jobs I should have let go of months earlier, because in the moment it felt faster to just do them myself. So in the next 12 minutes I want to walk you through what I actually learned the slow way. What I handed over first, how I handed it over, so it did not fall apart, and the short list of things I will never delegate to anyone, no matter how good they are. This is the honest version from someone running a small business with a tiny remote team and a lot of automation, not some fantasy where you hire one person on Friday and never work again. Getting this wrong is not cheap either. Hand over the wrong things and you spend more time fixing rough work than you ever saved, and you quietly conclude that delegation does not work for you. It does work. I just had to learn that the skill was never in the hiring. The skill was in choosing what to let go of and being honest about what I was really holding onto out of habit rather than need. So here is the mindset shift. The thing that finally made delegation click for me was a simple change in how I thought about the work itself. You do not hand over whole roles. You hand over repeatable tasks and clear outcomes, and you keep the judgment for yourself. The automated part of my business and the assistant part of my business are both really good at the exact same thing, doing a defined job the same careful way every single time. What they cannot do and should never be asked to do is decide what the job should even be in the first place. So I started running one simple test on every task that crossed my desk. Could I write down, in plain steps, how to do this well? If the answer is yes, then it can probably be handed to someone else, because the knowledge lives in the steps, not locked inside my head. If the answer is no, if doing it well depends on taste, or context, or a judgment call that shifts every time, then it stays with me for now. That one question does most of the sorting for you. Notice it is not about whether a task is important. Plenty of genuinely important work is completely repeatable. It is only about whether the how of it can be written down and followed by someone else. One more thing on this, keeping the judgment does not mean keeping all the fun work for yourself. Some of the judgment work is genuinely tedious, and some of the repeatable work is a real pleasure. The test is not what you enjoy. The test is whether the quality of the outcome depends on a decision only you can make or on steps anyone careful could follow. Start with a delegation audit. Before you delegate a single thing, you need to actually know what you do all day, and almost nobody truly does. So here is the exercise that changed everything for me. For one full week, write down every task you touch, no matter how tiny. Answering a message, moving a file, booking a call, fixing a broken spreadsheet. All of it into one running list. Do not filter, just capture it as it happens. Then at the end of the week, go back through that list and mark each task on two simple scales. First, is it repetitive or does it genuinely need your judgment? Second, is it low value or high value to the business? Now you have four corners to look at. The tasks that are both repetitive and low value are your first delegation list, full stop. That is the corner you empty out first. The repetitive but high value tasks come next once you actually trust the person. The judgment heavy work, whether it is high or low value, stays with you for a good while longer. When I finally did this properly, I was a little embarrassed by what I saw. Hours of my week were sitting in that bottom corner, repetitive low-value work I had simply never questioned, because I had always done it, so I just assumed it had to be me. It did not have to be me. It only had to be written down clearly for once. The first things I handed over, so let me get concrete, because this is the part where people actually want the real list. Here are the first things I handed over, roughly in the order I let them go. The first was inbox triage, not writing the important replies, just the sorting. My assistant reads the inbox, files the newsletters, flags the handful of things that genuinely need me, and drafts nothing I have not already approved a template for. I went from opening a wall of 200 messages every morning to opening a short shelf of things that actually matter. The second was research and gathering. When I need 10 options compared or a list of contacts pulled together, I write down exactly what good looks like, hand it over, and it comes back in a simple format I can scan in 2 minutes. The third was data entry and cleaning. Moving numbers into a spreadsheet, fixing the formatting, turning a messy export into something a human can actually read. This is pure repetitive work and it is perfect to hand off. The fourth was scheduling and calendar wrangling. All that back and forth of finding a time that works for everyone, which used to quietly eat a shocking amount of my day. The fifth was formatting and repurposing content I had already made, taking one thing I wrote and turning it into 3 smaller pieces, following a pattern I set down once. And the sixth was first pass replies to the routine questions we get asked over and over, using answer templates I wrote myself, so the words are still genuinely mine even when I am not the one hitting send. Notice the pattern running through all 6 of those. Every one is a task where good already had a clear shape in my head, so I could describe it. None of them needed me to invent an answer from nothing. That is exactly why they were safe to hand over first, and why they took the weight off my week almost immediately without ever lowering the bar on anything a customer actually sees. How I actually hand a task over. Now here is the part almost everyone skips, and it is the part that decides whether delegation actually works or just quietly creates a brand new headache for you. Handing a task over well is a real skill of its own. So here is the exact process I use now every time. First, I do the task once while recording my screen. I just talk through what I am doing and why as I go. And I end up with a short screen recording that shows the real messy thing, not a tidy fantasy version of it. Second, I turn that into a simple standard operating procedure, which is really just a plain written checklist of the steps. It does not need to be pretty, it only needs to be followable by someone who is not me. Third, I hand over a small slice first, never the whole thing at once. One batch, one day of the task, one small pile to start. Fourth, I check the first few results closely and give real, specific feedback. This part was great, this part missed the mark, and here is exactly why. And then, and this is genuinely the hard part for a control freak like me, I let go. After a few solid rounds, I stop checking every single one, and the best thing happens next. A good assistant starts improving the procedure themselves, spotting steps I left out, finding a faster path, and the written guide quietly gets better because someone other than me is finally using it every day. What I will never delegate. So that is what goes. Now let me be just as clear about what never leaves my hands, because knowing your hard limits here matters just as much as knowing what to release. The first is final judgment and strategy. What we make, who we serve, where the business goes next. An assistant can gather everything I need to decide well, but the actual decision stays mine, because it is my name and my risk sitting on the line. The second is anything that needs my own voice or a real personal relationship. A message to a long-time customer, a sensitive reply, a thank you that is supposed to actually mean something. The moment that gets outsourced, people quietly feel it, even if they could never say exactly why. The third is high-trust decisions, the ones where a wrong call is expensive or genuinely hard to undo. The fourth, and I am strict about this one, is sensitive access. My primary passwords, the core financial accounts, anything that could sink the whole business if it went wrong. When an assistant genuinely does need access to do a job, it is scoped and limited. Their own login, only the permissions that one task needs, and nothing that goes near the master keys. That is not about distrusting a person as a person. It is just basic sense. The same way I would not hand a brand new hire the keys to absolutely everything on their first day or honestly on their 100th. And this protects the assistant just as much as it protects me. If something ever goes wrong with an account, nobody wants a good teammate caught in the middle of a mess they were never given the power to cause. Tight access is not suspicion. It is a clean boundary that lets everyone do their job without carrying risk that was never theirs to carry. The part that compounds over time. Here is the thing nobody really tells you about all this documenting, and it is the whole reason it is worth the effort even when it feels painfully slow. Every task you write down once becomes a permanent asset that you own. You do the painful part, explaining it clearly exactly one time. After that, it is a thing that just exists. You can hand it to the next person, improve it, or automate the whole thing entirely later on. A library of these written procedures is honestly worth more than any single hire you will ever make, because people naturally move on. But a documented way of working quietly stays behind. This is exactly where it starts to compound. The first task you delegate is slow and a little painful because you are really learning how to explain your own work for the first time. The 10th one is easy. And somewhere along that road, the assistant stops just following your procedures and starts genuinely improving them. And you have quietly gone from doing the work to describing the work to simply reviewing a small system that mostly runs itself. The mistakes I see people make. Before I wrap this up, let me try to save you the 3 mistakes I made so you do not have to repeat them. The first is delegating a mess. If a task is chaotic and undefined inside your own head, handing it to someone else just moves the chaos across the room. It does not fix it. Define it first, then delegate it. The second is going completely silent. People hand a task over, give zero feedback for weeks, and then quietly get frustrated that it is not exactly how they would have done it themselves. That is not on the assistant, that one is entirely on you. Honest feedback in the first 2 weeks is what shapes everything that comes after it. The third is the exact opposite failure, micromanaging so hard that you save no time at all. If you check every keystroke and rewrite every single result by hand, you have not really delegated anything, you have just added a slow middle step and paid good money for the privilege. The whole point of this is to buy back your own attention, and you only ever get it back if you genuinely let go once the work is good enough. So where should you start? So if you take just one thing away from all of this, please let it be this. Do not try to hand over your entire life this weekend in a panic. Pick one task this week, the single most repetitive, low-value thing you do, and give just that one away, properly. Document it once, check the first few rounds, and then actually let it go. That single small move will teach you more about delegation than any video ever could. If you are wondering where I actually find people, I hire through a site called onlinejobs.ph, and the link is sitting down in the description. I want to be upfront about it. There is an affiliate link, so if you do sign up through it, I may earn a small commission at no extra cost to you at all. Only ever use it if it is genuinely useful to you. And if this was helpful in any way, subscribe and follow along, because I am sharing exactly how I run this lean little business honestly as I figure the whole thing out myself. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.